Welcome, Wargamers. Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and thank you so much for tuning into this bit of news because we're finally getting some previews for the Fyreslayers Battle Tome. Now, I don't know for sure if it's dropping at the same time as the Deepkin one. However, let's see. Nope, I was just double checking to make sure it didn't say so in the top sentence of that article. We know they're coming out very, very close together, hot on each other's heels. But today's article is called Urgold is so hot right now. Fyreslayer runes are getting better, a lot better. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and just hammer through this sucker. These nominal allies have been set against one another in the fury of the Deep Box, talking about Deepkin and Fyreslayers. A huge new battle box that contains a new character for each faction, such as the Auric Flamekeeper, whose Master Flame rune draws power from the Urgold runes of fallen allies. That's not the only way to keep these molten mercenaries, these molten mercenaries can harness the runic magic of their forefathers, however. Urgold runes are tattoos of mystical metal crafted by expert rune masters hammered directly into the skin. This bodacious body art is imbued with Grimnir's essence, and when Fyreslayers enter battle, as they often do, they can awaken their Urgold runes to claim the power of a fallen war god. Now, I'm going to pause right there. That's just the fluff pretext of why Urgold is like or runes rather, is a mechanic within the game, and it's one that I have loved since this army's release. This idea that they're out harvesting pieces of their god to then use in war is so cool. As aspiring rune fathers may be aware, Fyreslayer armies benefit from the Urgold runes battle trait. You can activate one of 6 different runes in your hero phase, each of which offers a special bonus with an enhanced effect on a roll of a 6. The new battle tome adds an extra twist, Blaze of Glory, a new heroic action that can tune up your runes. This is really cool, okay? The idea of it's such a hero-centric faction, and now they're adding more heroic actions for those heroes is just a win to me. So let's check it out. Blaze of Fury. The little fluff text here says, in battle, particularly mighty Fyreslayer warriors can call upon the spirit of Grimnir to fill them with fury until their Urgold runes glow white hot. At the start of your hero phase, you can carry out this heroic action with a friendly Fyreslayers hero instead of any other heroic action that they can carry out. Makes perfect sense. So Blaze of Fury. Pick one friendly Fyreslayers hero. Until the end of your turn, the enhanced effect of the Urgold rune that is activated in this hero phase applies to that hero regardless of the activation roll. You cannot carry out this heroic action with the same hero more than once in the same battle. So this is cool stuff. Typically, with the way that the order of operations has been, when your hero phase begins, you choose the rune that you want to tap into and you roll a die. On a 6, you get the enhanced effect and the basic one. Okay, so it's kind of a stacking thing, but 14% of the time you're getting the Super Saiyan addition moves to it. And what this is simply saying is you have a heroic action that allows you to auto pass that specifically for that hero. Now they do have a few examples of rune rules that are going to be in the new book, so we'll check those out in a second. But having that on command in an army that's full of heroes is really nice. Because remember, it's not just the Blaze of Fury that's going to tap into whatever the best version of the rune that's currently on the table is. You also still have access to things like Heroic Hour or Finest Hour or whatever it is. And so these become tools in your toolbox of like, well, maybe on a turn where you want to have a more defensive rune up, well then you could do Finest Hour and have your, hero just go in and blender people as best he can. But if you're already doing a fighty one, well, you can choose this one and just make your heroes more fighty. So on the whole, I think that's a really cool idea. Just introducing more heroic actions and monstrous rampages, I think, is a really fun way to add flavor to these various factions. So continuing on, why leave things to chance? When you really need to fire up one of your heroes, they can activate the enhanced effect of whichever Urgold rune you picked, even if you didn't roll a 6. Meanwhile, the finest Dwarden-smiths have been hard at work in the fiery forges. Several of your runes have changed quite dramatically. The fiery rune of determination has seen its most significant change. Once a simple bravery buff, it now offers an impressive army-wide 6-up ward save. Ideal for weathering a turn of heavy shooting. Its enhanced effect makes your heroes even harder to kill, boosting their ward to 5. So that's a really cool one. So again, the whole army, no matter what, will get a 6-up save. If you do roll your 6 for the enhanced effect at that point, your Fyreslayer heroes have a ward of 5 up. So it's not like an army-wide 5 up, it's just the heroes. But what's cool is, again, you can auto-trigger that on your heroes, even if you don't roll the 6. If you just have a support hero that you need to not get shot off the board, throw this on for the entire army so that no one, you have that kind of mediocre defense. It's a 6-up ward save on everybody, but your hero who you really want to keep alive can be at a 5-up. And of course, from there, you can do other things like all-out defense or, Look Out Sir, or those kinds of things where you're trying to just stack buffs to keep your heroes alive. Continuing on, resilience is great, but it doesn't win battles on its own. Fyreslayers love their giant axes, and the last thing you want is for your cleaving blows to be blunted by enemy armor and magical wards. Meet the shiny new Rune of Searing Heat, which causes your attacks to dish out mortal wounds on rolls of a 6. So it lists the old one. I'm going to just hop, skip, and jump right past that and go to the new one. So the standard effect you get no matter what is if the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with a friendly Fyreslayers unit is 6, that attack causes 1 mortal wound to the target in addition to any damage it inflicts. The enhanced effect, if you do that on a hero or if you roll that 6 for the entire army, when this rune is activated, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of any friendly Fyreslayer units. On a 2-up, they take a mortal wound. So at this point, the enhanced effect just dishes out additional mortal wounds if you're near them, but it's fine. Not one I would use the heroic action that they give you for, but it's cool. But that standard effect is quite awesome, and it kind of makes me wonder how different they are going to make Volkite Berserkers from Hearthguard Berserkers. So that's the Volkites are the chaff, the basic battle line units, whereas Hearthguard Berserkers are the more elite infantry. And for the longest time, we've seen a lot more emphasis on the elite side of things, and people have kind of put Volkites on the shelf. But I'm wondering if the Volkites lean heavily into number of attacks, and the Hearthguard lean into quality, meaning, rend and multiple damage on their weapons, that kind of stuff. I think it could be really cool to give them very different playstyles, because with the Volkites, if they did more attacks, you could just put this rune on and your strategy could be fishing for 6s on this round and then have some cool synergies afterwards. Whereas, maybe because they don't have the number of attacks, this rune, isn't as valuable on the Hearthguard stuff, and so other ones will be. My point is, this is a cool one because all they have to do is make, one of their 3 units that they have in the entire frickin' army, make it have more attacks, and they can be crappy quality, but they've just given it a different thing to do. And that's kind of been my main criticism of the Fyreslayer book as it is now, is that there's just nothing that the Volkites do that the more elite version doesn't do better. And this would at least give them some role, right? You're the weight of dice unit. Cool, I'll take it. Continuing on with the article, the enhanced effect sets your hot-headed little dudes alight with literal flames of fury, inflicting mortal wounds on any units up within 3 inches. Pop that right as your Hearthguard Berserkers, of course they mentioned the elite unit, I was just mehing, stuck into a big brawl and watch the fireworks. But it's just 1 mortal wound, right? So let's just kind of, keep that in mind, because it's not, of any Fyreslayer units. If it was like, within 1 inch or 3 inches of each guy, then we can talk about lighting stuff up. But 1 mortal wound, I'm not getting too excited. With their Flamestrike poleaxes, your Berserkers can cause 2 mortal wounds on each hit roll of a 6, another mortal wound on wound rolls of a 6, and still have some damage in store for opponents who fail their save rolls. Now that's hot. And it's true, it is. Man, that's a brutal weapon. I read that, and of course I just eat my own words, because of course I was just talking about how I want Volkites to be better at using this, and then they immediately show off a way that Hearthguard Berserkers are better. But I just want them to have different roles in the army. I don't care what that looks like. If this is stronger on the Hearthguard, that's cool. Just give me something for the Volkites. And the article finishes up, Dwarden commanders all across the mortal realm should find plenty of ways to use their new runic repertoire in Battletome Fyreslayers. It's released in the near future. Let's hope they can bellow loud enough to get the orders past their blazing bouffants. So we'll throw this up here and just chat for a bit. This makes me excited. Fyreslayers are an interesting one because we saw that they were one of the first factions to get allegiance abilities. They actually got them in a GHB at one point. And they have not dramatically changed in terms of game design a whole lot since. And by that I mean specifically with the runes. The army has undergone quite a few changes. You know, moving from 1 wound to 2 wounds, that kind of stuff. The axes have gone up and down in stock. There's been a lot of change. But their core design concept with the runes of like, here's 6 runes, pick one. You can only pick it once per game, and you have to like figure out how to best manage which runes you need in which moment, how to save the good ones for the right second to combat. All of that's still there, and that makes me excited because I actually like that game quite a bit. Like that mini game of choosing your runes. And I do the same thing. I play AdMech in 40k occasionally, and so like they have a very similar setup. It's great stuff because all you have to do at that point is just get to know your unit profiles, and no matter which subfaction you play, you have access to the runes, and it's just like it makes the army very easy to learn in a sense, just because you're not compounding a bajillion different things. You have some very basic profiles, and then you only have to worry about one special rule affecting them per turn. I'm excited that they're kind of like looking at the design space of bringing in, you know, heroic actions, possibly monstrous rampages. I mean, I would love if they gave the Magmadroth a unique monstrous rampage. It's the only creature like it in the game. Why not? But I love that they're doing that. I think it's really cool stuff. Kind of like how Nurgle has spells that play into the disease mechanic. I like when they create a mechanic, so let's say the rune stuff, and then allegiance abilities, artifacts, all that kind of stuff plays into it. It's like, don't just dump new stuff on me. You've given me rules, like let's get creative about how we can use them. And at the end of the day, I think that's what Fyreslayers need. They have such a small toolbox that the emphasis needs to be on creative ways to put these things together rather than just more rules. So I'm excited for it. I would love to see more Fyreslayer armies. They are really cool. Like I had one, I sold it off to Jack at Rerolling Ones, and he seems to really like it. They're a cool option to have. They're very bright, very like impactful on the table. They look great. It's just they all kind of look the same. But I would say that they are like, you know, a 3-man squad of baby Magmadroth riders away from being one of the coolest armies in AOS, and that's not bad. That was a free idea, GW. You can put that one in the bank. But I'm excited to see more and more of these. I would love to know more about their plan for Volkites and Hearthguard Berserkers and stuff like that, as well as maybe even some cool, you know, core battalion setups, that kind of thing. Because they do have such few numbers of units, I think that they're going to be able to make great use of core battalions because they can fill them out so easily. And with stuff that you were already going to take, because you have to kind of take everything that exists in that battle tome to even have an army. So I think there's a lot of possibility here, and I'm very optimistic about it, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and leave them in the comments down below, and I will respond to you there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll catch you next time. Happy wargaming.